Hey guys, Mike here. So today we're going to talk about some numbers that came out yesterday and then something else that came out today that to me, I mean, it's pretty disturbing in a way, and it's frustrating to me. And I know it frustrates a lot of people because I've had these conversations around many dinner tables that we talk about because, there's always the American dream. You're always trying to work hard and being, if you get in the middle class, that's pretty good if you come from being poor, right? That's where I came from. And so it's like, hey, great. And then you get there and you realize, man, you're really pulling a heavy sled up the hill for a lot of people, right? So there's benefits and things you can have out there that you're basically working your butt off to, have, or you're paying your fair share. And then you realize a lot of people ain't paying nothing, right? And they're going to enjoy all the same benefits that you're getting to enjoy. And so it's frustrating because it's not really fair. I get it. But the numbers that came out are just disturbing. So we're going to get into those. I'm going to tell you exactly why it's just unsustainable. I mean, I'll show you the numbers. There's just no way it can continue. They got to figure something out. And so, if you get anything out of it, hit the like and subscribe button. I really appreciate that. Hit notifications all and everything. And let me just let you hear these numbers that just came out yesterday.
Well, Joe, we're talking about new estimates from the Tax Policy Center showing 57% of Americans paid zero income tax in 2021. Now, this is much more than the 43% rate pre-pandemic. And the main reasons, government stimulus checks, higher tax credits, especially the child tax credit and the standard deduction now of $25,000, and retirees moving to Social Security. Now, as some of these programs phase out, the number of non-payers expected to fall back to normal levels over the next year or two. But people say that when you combine payroll taxes and federal taxes, only 41% of Americans actually paid zero in combined federal and payroll taxes. And Senator Rick Scott and others saying more Americans need, quote, skin in the game. Howard Gleckman of Tax Policy Center estimates that if every taxpayer paid at least $100 in federal income tax, it would raise $100 billion a year in added revenue. Now, more than 80% of that increase would be borne by those in the lower and bottom half, making less than $54,000 a year. And meanwhile, the share paid by the wealthy continues to be at or near a record high. The top 1% paid 39% of federal income taxes last year, and the top 10% paid 71% of all taxes.
And so understand very clearly that my frustration lies with the government, not even the people, because that's the system that we all live in, right? But my frustration lies in if you are middle class, whether it's lower middle or upper middle class, doesn't matter. That's the majority of Americans. And, I always say we're like the meat inside a hamburger bun. We are getting screwed two different ways. Because why? If you think about it, most of us at least, pay federal income tax, right? And let's play a game here. I have tried one year, I said, we were going to get our taxes down as low as we can. And I think I finally got it down to like 9.1% one year. Okay. So, in the comments, what's the lowest you've ever got your tax burden down at the end of the year when you sat down with your accountant or you did it on TurboTax or whatever? Like, what's your record? What'd you do it? And if you got any secrets, let us know, because mine just happened to be I had a rental property and some other things going on that year. But, let us know if you got any tips on that one, because I'm looking for that every year with my accountant. And, but the frustration when I'm saying we get screwed two different ways, if you think about it, because we make up the majority of America and we pay taxes, we have to fund the social programs, right? For like when I was a kid, right? We never got on welfare, but we rated it. We could have, for sure. And I'm sure at some point in time we probably were. My mom didn't tell me, and that's fine. I'm a firm believer in safety nets. It happens. Trust me, when I joined the Marine Corps, I had friends that were married, same age as me when I got in, that were enlisted, got paid so little from the military that they actually qualified for welfare, okay? So it's not just people don't want to go work and all that stuff, because most people want to work, right? But the system is so crazy, especially the welfare system, it's almost hard to get off of it. And if you've never been on it, you don't know what I'm talking about, but it really is the way it's rigged. But then at the top, right? So we fund that by our taxes, but up the top, we basically fund their lifestyle, because what are we doing? Most of the wealthy own the big corporations, things like that. We're buying all this stuff, and that helps them out, okay? And lets them live their lifestyle, which is great. But when he goes on to say an interview, which I cut out, was he knows some rich people that basically almost pay zero federal tax as well because they don't take paychecks, right? Bill Gates has said this multiple times. Warren Buffett said it multiple times. I'll pay more taxes, sure. And they've even said they pay less in percentage than their secretaries do because their secretaries have a W-2. They take theirs in some form of capital gains or something, or some kind of passive income, right? And so that's the problem you have here. But the middle class, there's so many tax benefits we don't get, right? There's a great interview I saw from a really rich guy. He was just laughing because he said, understand who passes the laws, rich people. So we advocate them to pass certain laws for us, not us, but for them, like buying a private jet and being able to write the whole thing off the first year, being able to buy marketing advertisement or something in the future and then write it off now. Try to get your, tax down to zero. And so, if it's the law, so they're following the law, that's the problem, right? And then here we are in the middle, and I'm having to have conversations with, people we know now, because here in Florida, the houses have appreciated so much that they can't even go out and buy a house now, right? But yet the rents have increased by 40% in Florida in 1 year, 40%. The rents are way higher than the mortgages, right? But they can't qualify for the house because now a house that was $250,000 is $500,000. And I'm talking about a 3-bath, 2-bedroom house that ain't even 2,000 square feet, no pool, no nothing. Okay, barely even got a yard. That's how insane some of the home prices have gotten in Florida. And that's not even Miami. Whew, that's way higher. But, I know a 4-bedroom, 2-bedroom house just yesterday sold for $650,000, 2,500 square feet in just a regular neighborhood. The person bought it 4 years ago for $280,000. You imagine that? So even if they qualify, they said they'll be house poor, right? And house poor, if you know what that means, all they will be able to do is afford the mortgage and the power bill and stuff. They won't be able to go on vacations or save for retirement or anything like that. Nobody wants that, right? But that's where we're at, right? And these are people who have degrees, they're out working, just trying to live the American dream, and it's out of reach, right? And so with this few people paying taxes now, right? And it's actually waned. Like, look at this chart and look where we're at. Look where we were way back in the day and look where we're at now. And you just look back here. I mean, this goes like to 1980. 1980, it was 21%. 85 went down to 18%. Now look at it just go up steadily right there, especially when it hit 2000, right? Rockets up during the great financial crisis, 42%. It comes back down. We get down around, 34 something there. And then, boom, we're up over 50%. It's supposed to come back down to around 42, right? But that's still, it's almost half the country. That's the trajectory, is 42% won't pay any federal income tax. And you may think, I'm not, one of those big earners. Well, look at this right here. You don't even have to make that much money, to be honest with you. You would think to be in the top 10%, you have to make $1 million or something. But then the top 10%, you and your wife, $173,000. Or, you and your spouse, whoever it is, top 5%, $342,000, top 1%, not even $1 million. Top 1% now, not even $1 million in this country. And then top 0.1%, $3 million. And really another way to look at this is whether it's poor or the rich to pay zero federal income tax. It's like, I don't belong to a country club, and that's not really my thing. But let's say you belong to a nice country club and you pay a lot of dues, and one day you're out there and you go out there to play golf and you're warming up your swing, and here comes me. I come out there, cut in front of you, excuse me, boop, tee off, and you're like, who is this guy? Like, I don't recognize you. Do you belong to the country club? No, I just figured I'd try it out. Good to go. Excuse me. Playing on, and I'm enjoying all the amenities and everything else, yet I ain't paid a cent into it. That's the same thing with people, whether they're rich, poor, whatever it is, they pay zero federal income tax. And then, of course, let's overreach. And here we go with this new policy that's going to be presented, which doesn't stand a chance in hell of passing. Of course not. But, I guess in a way you look and say, at least they're coming up with something.
This tax is called the Billionaire Minimum Income Tax, but it actually applies to households with $100 million or more in net worth. So that's roughly the top 20,000 households. It's really a two-part tax. The first part is a minimum tax of 20%. That's a minimum tax rate. So if they currently pay a tax rate of 12%, they would owe an additional 8% on their income. It also redefines income to include unrealized capital gains. So each year they would pay up to 20% on the increase in the value of stock or a business, even if they never sold. Now, they would have several years to pay this tax. So if the stock goes up 1 year and down the next, they would get a credit against the future payment stream. So let's take as an example Mark Zuckerberg, because that stock has been all over the place. He was worth $128 billion at the end of last year. So for 2021, he would owe 20% of that, or $25 billion of that total, as a one-time tax. Now going forward, he only pays for the annual change based on the stock price. This year, he's down $41 billion, so he gets a credit of $8 billion, leaving him with a $17 billion balance with the IRS. Now, if he ever sold his stock, these payments would be credited toward his future capital gain. So in effect, this is more like a prepayment of capital gains rather than an additional wealth tax or an annual wealth tax. The White House says the plan would raise $360 billion over 10 years. Half of the revenue would come from America's 720 billionaires.
And if you didn't understand a bit of that, I read a detailed article today on this, and it was pretty confusing, actually. And, you know, they don't even know if it's constitutional. There's no way it's going to pass. He's going to present it in his budget and all that stuff. Like, hey, at least you're trying to get something up there, because what people just don't get is the percentage that these people pay, these billionaires, are less than what we pay. I mean, they've come out and just straight out said it, because they don't take paychecks, right? And they're smart at how they do it, and they have accounting firms. So I'm not upset about them for what they're doing. I'm upset at the government for allowing them to do it, because they wrote the system, because they give them tax deductions we just don't have access to. That's just the way it is, right? And so that's the frustration on my part, because it easily be fixed, but you know, that's just not going to be the case. And what's really scary is the reason why this will most likely get worse, not better, is because there was just a report that came out, I believe it was yesterday, from, who is this, Lending Club right here. And I'll just read it to you. It says 48% of Americans with annual incomes over $100,000 live paycheck to paycheck currently. 9% points higher than first reported in June 2021. And so that's just crazy. I mean, there's no, it's like, but that's the situation we live in. I said months ago, it's going to get worse, right? With the cost and everything else. And so, you know, that's just another mind-boggling stat to me. It's like, my God. And the good thing is, hey, we're going to increase defense spending. I heard about, at least that's the budget proposal, to increase defense spending again. So, you know, again, those, you know, people in Palantir, any defense contractors, you know, those stocks are looking pretty good now if we're going to spend more in defense. So something else to think about, but just want to put that out there. Let me know what you think in the comments, you know, and hopefully you understand where I'm coming from and stuff. But it's always good to at least know this stuff, educate yourself on this stuff. I'm a firm believer in that. Educate your kids on this kind of stuff, the kind of system they live in, because the tax system is very complicated. I'll tell you right now, it really is. So I guess it's made complicated for a reason. So hope you guys have a good one. Hit the like, subscribe button if you got anything out of this, and I'll see you later.